Hello everyone, it is a great pleasure for me to introduce my guests. This episode will be slightly different from our first episode. We have not one, but two special guests today. We will be discussing the ins and outs of the industry, talking about personal experience, different backgrounds, what we wish to improve and how we think the industry will evolve. Our first guest, hailing from Serbia, has been involved in many acclaimed projects, including but far from being limited to The Martian, Star Wars The Last Jedi, The Jungle Book, and many more. Please welcome Aleksandar Jovanovic, Senior Environment Artist at MPC. Our second guest, hailing from Egypt, is an award-winning lighting environment TD whose contributions include, but again not limited to, Home Invasion, and as well as Fast and Furious 9. He is currently working at DNEG. Please welcome Mohamed Raof.
Okay. Mohamed Raof, Aleksandar Jovanovic, welcome both to the show. I'm very happy to have you here today with me. And you are the first aliens, or let's say the first, it's the first time I do a double interview. So welcome to the show, both of you. I'm very, very happy to have you here.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. This is like a double date.
It is. But unfortunately, one of them is not nearby. So
Yeah.
we wish you could be here with us, Mohamed Raof.
Yeah, that would be weird.
I will try to not be. I won't cut this. Okay, I'm gonna start with you, Mohamed Raof. Can you tell us a bit more about your background, please?
About my background. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I was born in Egypt. I was raised and born in Egypt. My main study has nothing to do with VFX. I mean, I've been always into art since I was a kid. I was like into drawing, all this stuff. And I started to work in the CG field in 2007 or 2006, something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I do work in commercials and movies and TV. Mainly doing lighting and rendering, modeling addiction and all this stuff. Now I'm working with DNEG on my second show.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Aleksandar Jovanovic.
Should I introduce myself?
No, you don't have to. You can. Yeah, it's more about your background.
Right. So I'm coming from Serbia and I've been here in UK for almost 10 years now. I started with 3D around 2001 professionally.
Okay, wow. Almost 20 years now.
Yeah, it's been too long. And I was similar. I was very much into drawing. I wanted to do actual shooting of the films, like be a film crew.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up working in VFX field. I mean, I changed a couple of things. I was working on games as well. I was working in commercials. And like since I came to London, I'm basically working in VFX on the movies.
Okay, VFX for movies. Is it same for, you are on DNEG film, right, Mohamed Raof?
Yeah.
Okay. So was your situation, Aleksandar, comfortable enough to consider working in artistic field? Back home, I mean.
Yeah, well, I never had any issues on the family side about it, not even friends. Like I was from early days drawn into drawing and doing artistic stuff, so they let me do it, even though they not fully understood what is with these computers and 3D when it showed up. Before that, it was like, he's just artistic guy, drawing comic books, and this was new to them. But I never had any major issues with that. I guess it's because my family was pretty much supportive on that side.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people who didn't have such support, unfortunately, so they had to struggle a bit at the beginning. I guess it's different stories for everyone.
Yeah,
I didn't have, in that regard, much issues.
Mm-hmm. Is it the same for you, Mohamed Raouf?
Yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, I always feel that I belong to this field. I love movies and I love the animations and all the things that you used to see in the movies. And I always wanted to be part of this production.
Mm-hmm.
But uh, here they will, it's not about being supportive or not, but getting this kind of job here in Egypt back in the days was something very rare to happen. So if you say that you want to work in a movie or you want to chase a career, to work in a big production movies that no one understand you and they think that you're making rush decisions, like you should better have normal jobs and things like this. So most of the time, I won't share my thoughts with everyone. Like I keep it on with close people. Like I can tell them that I want to end up one day working in big movies, something like this. That they would not necessarily to understand, but like just not to disappoint you or just to give you some support or something like this. But I think for the rest, like once you tell them that this is your dreams or this is your thoughts, they will not agree with you. The idea of that you have some skills and you have passion about something and you want to put them both together to be something one day. This is not a very common idea here, you know. So yeah, at the beginning, I wasn't like very comfortable about talking about this stuff with everyone.
Were you planning, Alexander, to leave your country regardless of the field?
Well, I always like the idea of going somewhere, traveling, meeting new peoples and cultures. I didn't have that opportunity when I was younger
Mm-hmm.
because we were cut off with sanctions since I was like 20, 22, something like that. So I didn't have opportunity, but I always wanted to go because, like I mentioned, I got this idea to be a filmmaker,
Mm-hmm.
but I really wanted to actually go to Hollywood to shoot the movies. It was very naive, but I was young, and that's okay. So I wanted to shoot actual movies, and back then I was thinking that's the only place that I could shoot the movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I never had the idea where I would end it up. But
Yeah.
generally speaking, yeah, if I have all the money in the world, I would travel all over the place, regardless. So
Yeah, it doesn't matter the field. It's not because you had to travel. I mean, if it wasn't for VFX, you would have traveled anyways or left the country anyways.
exactly, yeah. I mean, I still didn't travel as much since I could, you know.
Mhm.
But I've been to Norway, I've been to Dubai, I've been here. I think it's because when I was younger, my father was working for airplane company,
Mhm.
local, and we traveled a lot to all around the world. And then I couldn't when I was already like a young adult.
Mhm.
I was basically stuck in one place and I couldn't go anywhere.
What's the reason of? I mean, why you got stuck? Why you can't leave?
Oh, because of the sanctions. Because
Okay.
we couldn't travel unless you have a really good reason. You have to wait in visa for days.
Okay.
So we could go just to Greece, and that's about it.
When was that? Do you remember the year?
From when I was already like young adult, so it's like from 95 until I think they let us travel after 2000, year 2000, something like that.
Okay, I see.
We could, but they actually lift this ban in I think in 2001 or 2002. So we could finally, you know, do something.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I would probably come here even earlier when I was 17 or 18, because I always chased this kind of dream to do this anyway.
Okay. Was it the same for you, Mohamed Raouf? Were you planning on leaving your country regardless of the field?
Yeah, this is something I always wanted to do, to travel the world and see everything. And I felt like with my job, I could have like each year in different country. But then I realized that it's really, really difficult to get a job visa, especially for coming from a third world country. So yeah, it took me a lot of time searching, applying everywhere, and you always hear the feedback that we can hire you, but you need to bring the visa yourself. Like if you have like you apply for a company and they ask you, do you have the visa to work, and all this kind of things. So it was really frustrating. Like you keep applying everywhere, like the UK, the US, different places, countries in Europe, but they all coming with the same reply: we can't sponsor you. So that was really
frustration. It's frustrating, I imagine. How did you discover your passion for VFX? Or when I say VFX, it could be movie, game, not necessarily. Yeah, in general.
Yeah. You start watching movies when you're a kid and you love it, but you think that everyone just love these movies, but you find yourself rewatching the same movie again and again and again, like just like, and this special part of the movie that you love it, and you find that no one wants to talk about it except you. You start to feel that you're crazy somehow.
You feel obsessed. I still have this until now.
Yeah. And you start to see that you want more than just a movie. Like you want to see how did they make the movie, the making of the movie. You want to hear the directors, what they're talking about, and the writers, and all these things. And of course, I was obsessed with visual effects that you used to see in the movies, especially like Terminator 2 and all the movies that came in the 90s. Despite the fact it was like full of CG or not, the movies were great and amazing. So I remember like Terminator 2 was mind-blowing, and Independence Day, and what else? You name it, all the movies that came in the 90s. And especially I remember the cinematic clips that came was Warcraft.
Yeah, I remember that.
That what really made me decide, no, I want to work there. I want to do this stuff. Like, I just went to the game, playing the game, but then I saw the cinematic movie and I was like, wow, that was like the first time to see something fully CG with this quality.
I remember very well. I remember very well that cinematic. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, I remember them as well. It was really cool. But for me, it's hard to tell because I also enjoy all of the movies, as Mohamed mentioned. I was kind of lucky that in my surrounding, I had a couple of friends who were similar to me. They didn't choose the same career as I do, but we were kind of sticking together. We even went together to the comic book school. We were drawing like a lot of comic books together. And I always wanted to do animation secretly. But nobody back then, when I was a kid, was actually offering any kind of education in that field. So we were learning just by watching a lot of movies and a lot of making-ofs. And we just mentioned earlier that for some reason we had this TV station where lots of making-ofs were playing whenever there is like, they didn't have a program or something. They would play a couple of making-ofs in the sequence. And I really absolutely loved those. And they were full of practical effects, but also some special effects. Like I think I love the most the Starship Troopers ones, where they were using a lot of practical stuff plus some VFX on top, and they were showing us how they made these little models and then how they enhanced them in computer. And for us, was like, wow, what did they do? So I wanted to do all of that, and I ended up in a school for that. When I was supposed to go to university, I chose to go to this school and pursue this career.
Yeah, that's great. Aleksandar, have you lived through war, and how did that affected you personally?
Well, we had, in my lifetime, 2 wars. The first one I didn't really experience, apart from, like I mentioned, sanctions and lack of anything, basically. And the second one, we were bombed in 1999 when I was 18. I don't know if that affected me in any specific way. Maybe because I was young, and when you're young, you think you're made of rubber and magic. So I experienced that. Like a bomb literally fell like in the building just behind my building. So it felt like everything is crushing.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a big sense of unity in between the people, right?
Yeah, I see.
But one of the interesting ways that it affected me, I think, is the fact that we didn't have much when I was really young.
Mm-hmm.
So getting to find a comic book or something was, or a game, was basically mission impossible at some point. So I was having once in a while, like for example, when I was really young, I got 2 albums of Tintin,
Mm-hmm.
and I was really keen to get all of them, but of course that was impossible. So what I did, I was just drawing by myself my own comic books. So kind of pushed me to be a creative in a way,
Mhm.
like, because otherwise I think if I have everything out in the open, I don't know if I would try, because I would just pick up what's given to me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But in this way, I was forced to do it. I was forced to draw a lot. And I think that pushed me in this direction, because when the bombing actually started in 99, I was using... You had times when nothing is happening. They put the horns, like alarms,
Mm-hmm.
and basically you either go to the basement or you go out or something, you know. But basically we didn't go to school. Nothing was working, and I was just either with my friends or sitting home and drawing comic books. So I draw a couple of comic books, and back then I was having idea I might become one of the drawers.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't happen. But I think the lack of it kind of pushed a lot of creativity in me, because even games, I couldn't play much of those games because I had like really crappy computer,
Mhm.
or those games were not available. So I would imagine how they would look. I would draw maps, I would draw menus, I probably have it back home if somebody didn't throw it away. But and the funny thing is, when I finally get to those stuff that I couldn't play, I was kind of disappointed. I have a feeling that my idea was way better, you know.
Yeah, you're driven by your imagination, so you can do
Yeah,
crazy things.
yeah. I was living like I said, through the 90s was mostly imagination, you know.
Yeah, that's great.
Even we didn't even have movies coming in theaters. Some, but not many.
Mm-hmm.
So many movies I saw when I go to we call them video clubs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You probably have the same.
Yeah.
So, but the funny thing is, if a movie is not older, like a year or two, you're most likely watching somebody who's shoot the movie in the cinema.
Mm.
So imagine, like, first round of movies, I watch like stuff that's, you know, handheld camera in cinema somewhere, and sometimes even parts are missing, so you have to reimagine what's happening there. But it's interesting. I mean, if I would choose, I would choose way better, you know, youth than
Mhm.
that. But in a way, it helped me to be more creative, I think.
Yeah, it helps you shape who you are now, I think, as well.
Yeah.
The way how you work, the way how you see things.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think much until you ask me about it, but now when you ask me
Yeah.
about it, I'm returning the film, like we say.
Yeah, I think so. I think I would imagine that this would affected you or made you think or see things differently than if you had
Definitely.
a different childhood.
Yeah.
What about you, Mohammed? How did the revolution impacted your career choices?
Yeah, I remember when the revolution came. I was in contact with a studio in Europe after many tries,
Mm-hmm.
just to emailing everyone, and everyone just coming back to me. We cannot sponsor you. I finally found a small studio who could offer me a visa.
Mm-hmm.
We were in contact during the revolution, and then there was a period when they cut the internet, something like this. So I didn't know what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So it was almost like 10 days without internet. So when I came back, I went to check with them. The situation in Egypt wasn't really good. So, and then they decided that they will not be able to sponsor me anymore because
Mhm.
of the situation in Egypt. That was really disappointing somehow. because I didn't know what to do. After I was finally found something might be better than here, and I'll be able to chase the career outside of Egypt. I found that no, I'm back to ground zero. But I was able to get another job offer after a year almost.
Okay.
In
Yeah,
Dubai.
but still, okay.
Yeah. So I got a new job offer in Dubai. It did seem good at the beginning because when I had an interview with the company, they were like talking about doing movies, and I'm always chasing movies. So they were talking about doing movies with DreamWorks and Motion Gates and Marvel and all these things. But when I went there, it turned out that they are doing theme rides and theme parks related to movies. So all these theme parks are now here, are now in Dubai. They already built it, but when I went there, I realized that we were doing a theme ride itself. No, actually, we were doing everything, starting from the briefs and architecture and like everything. The work condition was really, really hard. Sometimes it was like you like the idea that you might be working on something cool or like related to movies, but after a while, I realized that this is not going anywhere. Especially that I found that I don't have something good really to show on my portfolio. Like if I want to chase big companies again in Europe and all these things, no, the work I'm doing there is not going to help me at all because it wasn't that good at some point, and also like a lot of people working with you, so you don't have something specific that you can say, I did this by myself. So, yeah.
Yeah, so can we say the revolution pushed you to take this job in Dubai, or in a way?
Somehow, yeah, maybe, because I don't have any other options available. Because even like at this point, I found that some of the companies that used to apply that we cannot sponsor you, they stopped using this excuse anymore. So
I see what you mean.
To feel it's something automated. When you even go and apply, you see that you choose from the beginning, are you allowed to work in this country or not? So you feel once you choose no, your application will not be processed. So yeah, it was like something I'm looking up to. Especially at this time, I remember Digital Domain, they were planning to start a new branch in Abu Dhabi. But after 1 year, they canceled this. So there was like, maybe you go there, maybe you could join Digital Domain or whatever it is. But yeah.
I see. Okay. Do you guys have any degree in any field?
Who wants to start first?
Alex.
In field related to VFX or
in general?
Well, I have this degree that I can build houses. I was studying. I was like a high school, but it was very viable to get. When you get this degree, you can be an architecture in a way.
Okay, I see.
But for everything that's not above some certain height. And I could go to university to finish that, but it was basically more or less the same. But I didn't. I went to this school for animation that I mentioned, and there I got the degree, but I don't think that degree is in any way like accepted or something. And I studied art history, but not just because of my own interest. I never had the desire to have a degree in that.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
It was more my interest, because I have a really good guy who was teaching us in this animation school, and somehow stuck with me, and I always liked that. Even now I like it. I read sometimes some stuff about art in general, and I learned some interesting things, like some books that I would never I discovered over there. But that's it, like officially from the... Yeah, I also have from this school that was like official alias training center. It was only in Belgrade at some point. But that's about it in terms of degrees.
What about you, Mohammed?
No, I don't have any degree related to CG field or anything like this.
But do you have any degree not related to VFX?
Yeah, yeah, I study.
Tell us
Yeah, I
about
study.
it.
Yeah, we want to know more about that.
Yeah. I study commerce here in Egypt.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I was supposed to be like working in banks or stocks or something like this. And actually, I had a job for like 4 months after graduation, but I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. I was like, I didn't see myself like growing up like this.
Yeah, I see. But you could have been a producer.
No. The thing is, it's just from the beginning. I wanted to be apart from the movie production itself. Like,
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
yeah.
On the making, not like. Yeah, I see. Yeah, exactly. So more artistic, the artistic part of the
Yeah.
making, not management,
Yeah.
not the management part. Okay.
That reminded me, actually. I know this is a bit of derailing the
No,
talk,
no.
but I learned some stuff from this because my cousin was doing, before me, 3D for a couple of years. It was quite successful, and we made 2 games together back when I was home.
But did you release those games? Those games
We
are...
did, yeah.
Oh yeah, we should. You should give us the names actually of those
I'll
games.
give you the name, but it's kind of old now. But
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It was basically in the first wave of those games for the phones.
Okay.
Yeah, and everybody was thinking we were crazy, but we did fine. You know,
No, that's
we
great.
released 2 games by ourselves. So he was, because his father was a lawyer, he wanted him to be a lawyer. And he told me once he went to the university. I think he stayed like 1 week. And then he says, this is not for me. And he literally left and go to the TV station and got a job, you know. I don't know. I mean, maybe he finished, but I don't think so. But basically, I remember he was kind of unimpressed with all of that. And, I mean, it would be a big shame for the world if he decided to go to be a lawyer or something. Because I think he's super creative, in my point of view. He was my, like, a role model when I was really young.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see.
And he was like, wow, what is he doing, you know?
Yeah, someone to look up to actually when you were young.
Yeah, but he didn't give me like, I don't know. He was always giving me advices, and he never tried to, like, he could put me in some place easily if he wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he did the right choice to put me to learn how to do it by myself.
Yeah,
you know,
of course, makes
with
sense.
some advices and some, you know, guidance basically.
Yeah, amazing. Mohamed Raof, when you first start applying to work in VFX, do you remember how many places you have applied to?
Yeah, a lot. A lot.
Is it above 100?
You scared me. How many? Do you remember how many? A lot.
Yeah, I mean, no, it was like maybe every month I go check the websites, and you could apply like each month for like 2-3 times.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So it's
And
like,
and you did that. I imagine you did that for years and years.
yeah, I mean, so each year you might have like 20 applications applied.
Yeah.
They all
Okay.
coming
think
back
we did the
with
same.
the same reason.
I think I did worst. once. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
after graduation. I think back then, I think you couldn't do some studios. I mean, you were only allowed to send the DVDs, not the application
I
online.
remember. Yeah.
I think I sent my showreel to every single studio on the planet. I think I have a list of 200 studios worldwide, something like that.
Really?
Yeah, and written in the paper with the number, everything.
What was your dream studio?
Back then,
Yeah.
it was Weta, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wanted to work there as well, but you know when?
No.
Not when they. I mean, yes, of course, when they released Lord of the Rings and all
Yeah.
of that. But I was kind of interested in that place even since The Frighteners
Oh,
with
yeah.
Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
And I was like, where is this? Because it was kind of interesting back then and different. Now I don't know if it aged well or not. I haven't seen it in ages. But I was very interesting to start working there. And I remember when they printed, they were looking for people for Lord of the Rings. and I didn't have anything to apply with
No, I
apart
was
from
not.
my drawings.
I was too young at that time.
Yeah, me too. But I wanted to.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, yeah. But of
I was
course,
I was still in high school when Lord of the Rings. Was released. So yeah, I was too young. I mean, I was already. I was a fan. I mean, I was not like a big nerd of Lord of the Ring, but I like the trilogy.
well, everybody did.
Yeah, I think so. Most of the people, at least. So what I would say is the movie that really, I mean, that attracted me to Weta was District 9.
That was
Yeah.
quite a while after.
Yeah, because it
Yeah.
was in the period where I was about to get graduated.
Mhm.
That period, and I really like that movie, especially the process. You know how.
Yeah, the handycam and all this thing.
Yeah, it's a documentary movie. Yeah, it's very well made.
Yeah, I like it. I like the
Yeah.
design. I bought a book for 30 pence,
Yeah.
like Art of District 9, and there was like a sale. It was like 50 pence or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
I still have it back home.
Do you, Alex? Do you remember how many interviews did you wind up with before coming to London?
Interviews
Yeah.
or applications.
Let's start with applications, then interviews. How many? Do you remember how many applications have you made, or more or less? Is it the
Mo-
same as Muhammad?
Maybe even more. Maybe even more. Yeah, I was really keen not to work for local studios.
Okay,
Just-
so everything outside Serbia, actually.
No, I wanted to work with my brother on the games, but
yeah.
but also I wanted to experience the movies, and my vision of movies was not the movies they were doing back then. Not that they're those bad movies; they're really good
same.
movies. But the amount of visual effects I want to do was not enough.
Yeah.
Like even if you do some, it was like one shot or two shots with special effects, well, visual effects.
Mhm.
So I applied a lot. I think I could maybe look it up for you and give you this information.
No. I mean, just
I was like-
curious in general, more or less.
At some point, it became a personal. I was like, you need to reply to me at some point. And I got similar like Mohammed. It was like, you're not qualified. You're not qualified, or you don't have a visa. You don't have a visa. You don't have a visa. And I was like really annoyed with that. It was like, I know that people can go even when they need a visa,
Yeah.
But I realized at some point maybe I'm not that good, so I started to learn even more,
Mm-hmm.
and I gave myself a year to improve in that field. And somehow, as I got better, and I was listening to critics and online, even the haters, because even the haters can sometimes tell the truth,
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen to them, and I tried to be better. So they noticed me. I got like 2 front pages on CG Talk back then, and studios start coming to me and like, would you like to come? And all of a sudden, this visa was not so big issue.
Mm-hmm.
So after a long time of waiting for something, I finally got the chance to go. My first work outside of Serbia was in Norway, and then in Dubai where I met Mohammed.
Oh yeah.
But,
That's an interesting story for later.
And then I ended up here, although I never really see it myself at the beginning that I'm going to end up here. I was always thinking I'm going to end up in LA for some reason.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you can still go if you want to.
Now I don't feel like I want to go. That's similar, like I said, with now that I can have what I didn't have, it's not so much fun anymore.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's yeah.
If you have it as a kid, it's like 10 times more amazing.
Yeah, that's true. Do you guys I mean, because I had this like I applied for a job, but they answered me back like 2 years after or 3 years after.
No, not that much, but maybe you find someone replying after 6 months, something
Yeah.
like this. So
Yeah, I had some like I remember sending my student demo reel, and I had an answer like from a studio like around, I think it was 2-3 years afterwards.
Really?
Yeah. I was thinking, really? I mean, do they think I still have the same email?
But you know what happened to me?
No.
Because when I got this front pages, whatever.
Yeah.
Back then that was a big thing because that was the only web page.
Mm-hmm.
Only after came everything else, and now we have ArtStation, that is the biggest one. Some people start asking me questions. How did you do that? What technique did you use? Typical things. and I was in conversation with someone, and I think last year when we were in Scanline, I got a reply that I realized was a reply from 10 years ago saying thank you or something like that. I don't know if that mail was lost somewhere for 10 years or who would dig through their old email like from 10 years ago and realize, oh, I didn't reply to this person. Maybe I should.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Mohamed Raof, any job hunting experiences that stood out, that you would like to share with us?
You mean job hunting from my side?
Yeah, I mean job hunting, like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we kind of covered it a little bit, but it's mainly like funny answers or replies from companies or stuff like that.
Cringy, I mean.
Yeah.
No, not that I can remember now, but as Alex was saying, like this amount of rejection just make you push yourself harder and harder. So you want to apply for the same company, like you develop your portfolio and then you go apply for the same company again. But then at some point you feel like, no, with this portfolio, I don't want to apply for these guys. I want something higher or something bigger, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's something I had to experience for a while. And there was something I did like a couple of times. Like I go apply for small studios, and I see if they can like sponsor me or not. And they they might reply and they might give me a job offer, but like twice. One was saying that I don't want you to leave. Like it's going to be a permanent contract. You can't leave.
Yeah, I see.
But I had to be honest with him. Like, no, I'm not looking for this. I can give you a year maybe or something like this, but my dream is not to stay with your company. And for another company, they were offering me a low salary somehow. And I know that was like, that's not the pay rate for this kind of job. So I had to reject the offer at the beginning. But then after a while, I came back asking for them if we can renegotiate it or something like this. But they came back with the same offer. So I was like, no, I wasted my time. Sorry. That's my fault. So yeah, I mean, these things that I could remember so far. Yeah.
Do you guys think we need a diploma to work on prominent VFX studios?